Known for his fearsome in-ring persona, the Junkyard Dog was a gentle giant outside the ring. But his life took a tragic turn when he was involved in a fatal car accident. What exactly happened that day? Let's find out. June 1st, 1998. It seemed like just another ordinary night on the open roads of Mississippi. But for one man, a man who was beloved by millions, it would turn out to be his last. The next morning, the wrestling world woke up to devastating news. Ritter, better known as the Junkyard Dog, was gone. If you grew up watching wrestling in the 80s, you definitely knew who Junkyard Dog was. He wasn't just another wrestler. He was a force of nature, one of the first black wrestling superstars to break into the mainstream. Junkyard Dog wasn't just known for his brute strength. He had this charisma that made everyone love him. That chain in his hand, his head held high, and the way he could get a crowd on its feet, it was all part of what made him so special. JYD got his start in Mid-South Wrestling, where he quickly became a fan favorite. From there, his career took off, and before long, he was a household name in the WWE. His hard-hitting style and his ability to connect with the fans made him a true pioneer in the sport. But beyond the fame, beyond the lights and the cheers, Ritter was, at heart, a family man. On that night in June, Ritter was driving home after celebrating something big, his daughter LaToya's high school graduation. It was a proud moment for him, as any parent could imagine, watching his daughter take her next big step in life. He'd made the drive from Wadesboro, North Carolina, back home to Mississippi, but tragically, he didn't make it. Somewhere on that lonely stretch of Interstate 20 near Forest, Mississippi, Ritter's car went off the road. The details of what exactly happened are still a bit of a mystery, but the result was clear. His car hit a tree, and just like that, Junkyard Dog Ritter was gone. He was only 45 years old. The news hit like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just his family that was heartbroken. Fans all over the world were shocked. One minute, their hero was there, and the next, he was gone. It didn't seem real. And the fans? They responded the only way they knew how, with love. Tributes poured in from all corners of the globe. Whether you watched him wrestle, met him in person, or just admired him from afar, everyone had a story about the Junkyard Dog. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was a legend. Even after he stepped away from the ring, Ritter continued to contribute to the sport he loved. He started training the next generation of wrestlers, passing down his knowledge and experience. Two of his biggest protégés, WWE stars Rodney Mack and Jazz. He wasn't just a fighter. He was a mentor, a coach, and a teacher to those looking to follow in his footsteps. Just months after his passing, however, an insensitive and ill-conceived promo dragged his daughter into a storyline, igniting outrage among fans and industry insiders alike. During a wrestling promo in the late 1990s, a wrestler made a remark involving LaToya Ritter, Junkyard Dog's daughter. This wasn't part of a long-standing feud or character arc. It was a cheap shot, meant solely to generate heat by invoking the legacy of her recently deceased father. The comment was seen as completely out of bounds, crossing the line from entertainment into exploitation. In professional wrestling, it's not unusual for performers to use personal jabs to elevate tension and sell rivalries, especially in the edgy attitude era of the late 90s. However, bringing a deceased wrestler's family into the storyline, particularly a child still grieving her father's untimely death, was a low blow that shocked fans. Fans were outraged. The comment didn't just anger those who loved Junkyard Dog. It crossed an unspoken boundary in professional wrestling. Families, especially the children of deceased wrestlers, are off limits. The immediate backlash was fierce, with wrestling forums lighting up with complaints and frustration that WWE would stoop so low for a storyline. Wrestlers themselves, many of whom had been friends and colleagues of Junkyard Dog, were equally disgusted. It was one thing to build drama with a rivalry, but another entirely to attack someone's family, especially after such a tragic loss. Even in an industry where the lines between reality and fiction are constantly blurred, this was too much. Fast forward to 2004, nearly 6 years after his death, the WWE decided it was time to honor the legacy of the Junkyard Dog in the best way they could, by inducting him into the WWE Hall of Fame. On March 13, 2004, just one night before WrestleMania Digzio, Ritter got the recognition he deserved. His old friend, Wrestling legend Ernie Ladd was the one who inducted him, but it was Ritter's daughter Latoya and his sister Christine who took the stage to accept the honor on his behalf. It was an emotional moment. You could feel the weight of it. Even though Ritter wasn't there to see it, you knew his legacy would live on forever. Some haters say that he is already forgotten, but it is people like you and me who keep his legacy alive. He made a name for himself in Mid-South Wrestling and the World Wrestling Federation. His nickname, Junkyard Dog, came from his time working in a wrecking yard. In 2004, he was honored by being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. When JYD stepped into the ring, he was hard to miss with his signature chain attached to a dog collar, and his entrance music, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. He became a huge draw, often headlining events that filled the Louisiana Superdome and other big venues. In fact, he was the first black wrestler to be the undisputed top star of his promotion. WWE author Brian Shields described JYD as one of the most electrifying and charismatic wrestlers of his time, especially during the early 1980s. He was famous for his powerful headbutts and impressive upper body strength, often body-slamming much larger opponents, like the one-man gang, Kamala, and King Kong Bundy. His wrestling trunks even featured the word thump, highlighting his powerful power slam move. In early 1989, JYD teamed up with Ivan Koloff and later Michael Hayes to take on the Russian Assassins. On April 2, 1989, he wowed the crowd at Clash of the Champions 60 in New Orleans by beating Butch Reed while a jazz band played him to the ring. However, things went south when JYD missed the WrestleWar 89 pay-per-view on May 7th and got fired. A year later, he surprised everyone by returning at the Capital Combat pay-per-view, thanks to Ole Anderson, the booker. By May 1990, JYD was in the spotlight, defeating Mean Mark Callis in just 39 seconds. He quickly got into a feud with Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship, and even won by disqualification on June 13th at Clash of the Champions vs. Swayins. In February 1991, JYD won his first WCW title, teaming with Ricky Morton and Tommy Rich to capture the WCW Six-Man Tag Team Championship. They held the titles until June, when the Freebirds defeated them. After leaving WCW in August, JYD made a comeback on February 29, 1992 at Super Brawl Tsubutitsu, saving Ron Simmons from Abdullah the Butcher. He continued to wrestle and form different teams, facing off against various opponents. Later, JYD worked on the independent circuit, wrestling for NWA Dallas and the National Wrestling Conference in Las Vegas. He stayed active in wrestling until his death, even appearing at Extreme Championship Wrestling's WrestlePalooza event in 1998. He also created the Dog Pound Stable in an independent promotion in Louisiana. JYD truly made a lasting impact in the wrestling world. We miss you, legend. Thanks for tuning in, wrestling fans. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible career of the Junkyard Dog. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos where we explore more wrestling icons and their amazing stories.